Yes, here, Tom, what do you think I am at? And until he says, it seems unimportant to you what I am doing, what I want to do, having a little difference between them. So for his mother, the difference between it's like there is no difference between what he is doing and what he wants to do. And for Tom, this is very important because there is a big difference. There is a gap between what he's doing at the moment, which is working in a factory, and what he wants to do, which is he wants to go for sailing. He is seeking adventure. He wants to exercise his talent of writing. So it's like two worlds apart, two different worlds. So he's living in one world, and his spirit and his mind are aspiring for a different world or another world. And this actually is the essence of the idea of escape, particularly when we refer to Tom. So Tom lives a certain reality which he does not accept, or which he accepts but reluctantly. Like you do something, but you are forced to do it, but you're just waiting for a chance to leave this thing behind and go. You're just waiting for an opportunity to fulfill what you are um, aspiring to do, what you are looking forward to doing. So here, these are two different things for Tom. But for his mother, in his view, it seems like it doesn't matter. They're the same. Amanda replies, I think you've been doing things that you're ashamed of. So Tom has been doing things that he's been ashamed of or he's ashamed of. What are these the things that he should be ashamed of? You should ask yourself. That's why you act like this. I don't believe that you go every night to the movies. So every night he says, I'm going to the movies to watch films. Why? Because films have adventure, and this is what I'm looking for. And since I can't fulfill adventure in reality, I'm going to just see it in a virtual world. Nobody, as a kind of compensation, of course, nobody goes to the movies night after night. Nobody in their right mind goes to the movies as often as you pretend to. So it seems like it's not just Laura who pretended to go to the business college, but in the mother's view, also Tom pretends to go to the movies, but in fact, maybe he's doing something else. Maybe she's getting suspicious of her children because they hide facts from her. People don't go to the movies at nearly midnight, and movies don't let out at 2 a.m., so very late time. Come in stumbling, like not being able to walk or to stand on your feet, muttering to yourself like a maniac, like a crazy person, like saying words like a crazy person. You get 3 hours sleep and then go to work. Oh, I can't picture the way you're doing down here there. Mopping dobbing. Mopping dobbing means like you're addicted to something because you are in no condition. You're not well. So it seems like she is referring to the fact that Tom is a drunkard. Tom drinks heavily and he comes back home very late at night, like a drunkard, not being able to control himself. So this is a thing he should be ashamed of. And there is a difference in this culture between just drinking and binging. Binging means like drinking excessively. So in their culture, drinking is acceptable. I mean, but social drinking. But for someone like Tom to come very late, being a drunkard, like not conscious, this is not acceptable. So this is a thing that he should be ashamed of. And again, this is one way of escaping from reality, to become unconscious of this reality. No, I'm not, I'm in no condition. What right have you got to jeopardize your job, to risk your job? Maybe you can lose it because of this. jeopardize the security of us all because all the family depends on his job. So if he loses his job, the whole family will suffer. How do you think we would manage if you were, and she didn't continue, like if you were fired or sacked? Listen, Tom replies, listen, you think I'm crazy about the warehouse? Like I like it. I'm crazy about something. Like I love it. He bonds fiercely toward her slight figure. You think I am in love with the continental shrimp? This is a question that we saw on like a screen legend in the beginning. Okay, so it's like Tom asking it. Um, you think I want to spend 55 years down there in that Celotex interior? Like it's not a friendly environment with fluorescent tubes. It's like it's like he is in a prison, not being in nature, not being in the open air. Look, I'd rather somebody picked up a crowbar and patted out my brains than go back mornings. I go every time you come in yelling that goddamn rise and shine. So this is the language his mother. So rise and shine, like wake up and prepare yourself to go to work. I say to myself, how lucky that people are. So as if he wishes to be dead rather than going to that place. But I get up. I go for $65 a month. I give up all that I dream of doing and being ever. And you say self. Because his mother usually accuses him of being selfish. Self's all I ever think of. And he's like surprised. I mean, after doing all this, after this sacrifice, you call me selfish? Why, listen, if self is what I thought of, mother, I'd be where he's gone. He refers to his father, pointing to father's picture. Like if I am selfish, as you say, as you accuse me, I would go where my father is. I'll just leave you and go, and I'll be selfish. But I'm not. I'm working. I'm doing a job that I don't like because I won't support you. As far as the system of transportation reaches, like I will go far away from here. He starts past her. She grabs his arm. Don't grab at me, mother. So here, just in one part of a very brief part of the dialogue or the conversation. We know everything about the job that Tom is doing, about his attitude to this job, about his sacrifice, about what he wants to do, just in a few lines. And it's a easy language, easy to understand, um, very smooth, very fitting in the context, not artificial language. And here, this kind of conversation shows how talented Tennessee Williams is, like relating everything, pointing to the father, not using just a verbal language, but also the body language here. Where are you going? I'm going to the movies. I don't believe that lie. Tom crouching toward her, overtowering her tiny figure. She backs away, gasping, yeah, like taking, breathing out quickly. I'm going to opium dens. Opium is a kind of drugs. Yes, opium dens. Dens of vice and criminals hangouts. We should not take his words here for granted. I mean, he's not, because she accuses him of being lying, so he's like acting as if he's lying, okay? Yes, opium dens, dens of vice and criminals hangouts, mother. I've joined the Hogan gang. So this is the name of our gang at that time. I'm a hired assassin. I carry a Tommy gun in a violent case. I run a string of cat houses in the valley. They call me Killer Wingfield. I am leading a double life. A simple, honest warehouse worker by day. By night, a dynamic Tsar of the underworld, like a very dangerous person in the world of crime. Underworld, yeah, in the world of crime. Mother, I go to the gambling casinos. I spin away fortunes on the roulette table. I wear a patch over one eye and a false mustache. This is a typical image of the dangerous people. Sometimes I put on green whiskers. On those occasions, they call me El Diablo. El Diablo in Spanish means like evil or the devil. Oh, I could tell you things to make you sleepless. My enemies plan to dynamite this place. So this is exaggeration. We should not believe all this. He's like exaggerating so that he should convince her that I'm a simple person. I just go to the movies, watch movies, maybe drinking, but I'm not that evil person you think of. So since you don't believe me, okay, I'm doing this and this and this. So we should not take this as a real thing. He doesn't do all these things. Of course, he's just a simple person. Oh, I could tell you things to make you sleepless. My enemies plan to dynamite to explode this place. They're going to blow us all sky high some night. I'll be glad, very happy, and so will you. Up, you'll go up on a broomstick over Blue Mountain with 17 gentlemen. It's like by magic you're going to go travel into the past. Uh, like here again, he's Tennessee Williams is connecting things together. You ugly, bubbling old witch. This is the word that she's going to tease his mother the most. Witch. He goes through a series of violent, clumsy movements. So not just the verbal language, but the body as well is expressing his his anger, um, seizing his overcoat, lunging to the door, pulling it fiercely open. So it's like he's struggling with his own clothes as well, with his own coat. The women watch him. Women here, Amanda and Laura, Grass, they don't believe what he's saying and what he's doing. His arm catches in the sleeve of the coat as he struggles to pull it on. For a moment, he's been pinioned by the bulky garment. With an outraged groan, he tears the coat off again, splitting the sort of it. So he's just fighting with his own coat and hurls it across the room. It strikes against the shelf of Laura's glass collection. There is a tinkle of shattering glass. Oops. He broke, by mistake, of course, he broke one piece of the glass menagerie. And you know how important the glass menagerie to Laura is. This is part of her world. And look at the reaction of Laura. It is as if he broke a piece of her bone. Laura cries out, as if wounded, as if he hit Laura. No, you can see how close this glass, the glass mesh, the collection of animals to Laura. Laura is part of this world, and this world is part of her. There is a kind of identification. Whatever happens to the collection of animals hits Laura in the heart. This is a kind of like um, peak moment in the play. The fight, the quarrel between Tom and his mother. This is one of the very important um, scenes, scene three, because it's like it shows us how these characters feels and what they do in their life. And it reveals a lot in just a few words. Music, legend, the glass menagerie. Laura shrilly, my glass menagerie. She covers her face and turns away. So Laura cannot easily accept what happened to the glass menagerie. But Amanda is still stunned, stupefied by the ugly witch. This is a word that she can't believe that her son called her ugly witch. He insulted her so hard, so that she barely noticed this occurrence. She even didn't notice that he broke uh, a piece of, like an animal of the collection. Now she recovers her speech. Amanda, in an awful voice, I won't speak to you until you apologize. So it's like you owe me an apology, Tom. You have to say I'm sorry. She crosses through portieres and draws them together behind her. Tom is left with Laura. Laura clings weakly to the mantel with her face averted. She doesn't want to look at him. Tom stares at her stupidly for a moment. Then he crosses to Shell, drops awkwardly on his knees to collect the falling glass. So he's trying to help in gathering together this broken animal, glancing at Laura as if he would speak, but he couldn't. The glass menagerie steals in as the scene dims out. The interior is dark, faint light in the alley. A deep voiced bell in a church is tolling the hour 5 as the scene commences. This is the time he starts to go out to the movies. So this is the end of scene 3 as we have seen it. Um, it's just a quarrel between the mother and her son. But this quarrel reveals a lot about their characters, about the sacrifice which Tom is doing because he is doing a job that he hates or that he does not like. And when he wants to leave it, as we have seen the conflict between the mother and the son, the reason behind this quarrel is, as we have seen in the beginning of the scene, that she confiscated, she took without permission his novel or the novel he borrowed and returned it to the library because she does not like the ideas of D.H. Lawrence, the British writer, and she does not want her son to read this kind of literature. And we see a difference between Amanda as a conservative mother and Tom as a liberal mind, as someone who is a writer. And the writer does not like, and this is part of the nature of Tom as well. He does not like physical constraints, like living in the city. He wants to go very far. He wants to work in the sea. And also, his mind does not accept constraints. He wants to read whatever he wants to read. Okay, so we stop here and we continue in a minute.